fix to start kicking ass, just like it said at the beginning of the program.
Man of the hour, tower of talent, too sweet to be sour.
Sending your ass on the jabroni jet to the other side of the territory, brother.
The Alabama Hammer.
Nightmares are the best part of my day.
The goods from the wood.
Hot damn.
Welcome to the Goods from the Woods. My name is Rivers Langley.
I'm Pat Riley.
Mr. Good Man of the hour, tower of power, too sweet to be sour.
And today we are thrilled to be joined by one of, God, how many sauce people have we had on now?
We had Lampy.
I think it was just Lampy. So
Yeah.
two of three. Two of three sauce people. Our friend.
Jeff Wattenhofer.
Wattenhofer, man. I'm this is the first time I've seen you in a minute,
Yeah.
dude. It's great to have you here.
The first time I've seen, I think, all three of you in a hot minute.
Right.
I feel.
This was the first time you've been on the show, too.
Yeah, that's right.
This is my first time. I'm glad that I beat out Barbara Gray and Brody Reed to be on the show.
Not
Oh, wait,
Brody
Brody's
Reed.
Brody's been here.
yeah.
I take that back.
Well, you still beat Barbara Gray.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I
Barbara.
believe you're the first holy fuck producer.
Oh, that's
on the
right.
show,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, I will say when I first moved to Los Angeles, I believe Holy Fuck was the first show I went to. Or if it wasn't the first, it was the second after. Actually, you know what? I think I went to Josh and Josh on the Thursday I moved
never
I
here.
thought you were going to say Sal's Comedy Hall.
No, Sal's wasn't around. I was there when Sal's opened, baby. I was there at ground
still
fucking
talk.
zero of the Hollywood, the most pinnacle.
You were there for when they
point.
opened the hole.
Yeah. I was like when they captured Saddam Hussein. They opened up the hole.
Maybe he was in there.
and he was like, I need 5 minutes.
Saddam crawled out.
I
and,
was in there doing 5 minutes and nobody was watching. That's how he hit out.
follow Mr. TV again.
Have you had Mr. TV on here?
God damn, I wish, man.
That guy I see more than you guys. I'll see Mr. TV every once in a while harassing some woman on the street, trying to get her to watch his show.
Oh God, does he have the big cardboard TV with him?
No, but he's usually wearing a sequin, sparkly jacket still.
Oh, okay.
that's
Well,
kinda
that's
his
that's good.
As somebody who, can we bring this up, tweets for Tom and Jerry, do you remember that cartoon? It was like one of them droopy cartoons where this dog broke out of jail and he dug up into the warden's house. Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah,
so
I
he
know what
ripped
you're
out
talking
but he
about.
dug up into the TV. So whenever the warden turns on the TV, this guy pretends he's the television
He
show.
had to do different shows.
It was a Tex Avery cartoon. I think.
I don't know if that was Droopy Cannon, though. I think that was its own.
It might not be part of the modern Droopy universe. It might only be Droopy Legends these
The
days.
Droopiverse, please.
The Droopiverse, sorry. But it was a good one. It really was. And it's kind of like Mr. TV when you think about
It
it.
really isn't like Mr. TV at all.
Well, he doesn't have a TV and he acts things out in it?
Well, no, I mean, I would say quality-wise, but I'm not.
Yeah,
But he's
Yeah,
doing the
versions
Mr. TV
on
thing.
Mr. TV.
I think that Mr. TV might have taken it from. He's taking it and bringing it to the modern
he's reappropriating it.
Yeah,
to-
he's fuck Jerrying Tom and Jerry. Jeff was the co-producer of Holy Fuck, which
Yeah.
is this
Pinnacle show.
Absolutely,
Pinnacle
yeah,
show.
totally. Well, in this at this point, I feel like you guys ended the show in 2013. Is that right, or was it 14?
I think it was summer of 2013.
Yeah,
It was 13.
2013.
Since the summer of 2013, there's been so many comedians that have moved to Los Angeles that I feel like it's something that's getting lost in the in the fog of time. But goddamn, that was
believe me, I know that
the
for-
most fun show.
Well, I
ever,
mean,
man.
I know I originally met Jeff to even go further in the fog of time at Bruco.
Westwood Bruco.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing Jeff and being quite intimidated because you were quite effortless.
Intimidated.
Yeah, well, no, there was a thing where Jeff would...
like Dale Earnhardt, baby, the
yeah,
Intimidator. Wattenhofer, the Intimidator.
Yeah, but he would
he would stare you down, and I
well, no, he would be so effortless when you'd go up. You just have the mic and just be like, "What are we going to talk about?" And it's like, this guy has chops.
That
Know
is
what he's doing.
code.
This guy knows what he's doing.
That's code for not having any material.
Oh, you want to go back
let's
to the old
talk
days? Do you remember the Palms Lesbian Bar?
That is where I met my fiance.
There you go. She wasn't one of the. She couldn't have been a
didn't work
lesbian.
there. No,
because it was
she
never.
didn't work there.
No, there was never any lesbians in the lesbian bar.
What was this?
It was called Palms.
Yes, I remember Palms. Yeah.
It's not there anymore.
It's now a
anymore.
Trader Joe's, I think, or
I
something.
think the Trader Joe's is across the street.
Yeah, the Trader Joe's is across the
okay.
street because I definitely went there to escape Palms open mic from time to time.
Yeah.
Palms was a lesbian bar in West Hollywood that had an open mic on Sunday or early Sunday evenings.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I think maybe 5, 6 o'clock, still light out even in the winter. And they would not turn off the disco lights during the show.
And they were, if I remember correctly, were sound reactive.
Yes.
So when you talked, the lights
They
were
moved.
moving.
Yeah.
And so, you would you'd speak a little louder, and all of a sudden you had a
go
blue
crazy.
light on you, or something.
And the filthiest bathrooms in comedy there for a hot minute.
They were filthy, but they were
pretty
very
bad.
private because you
Oh,
could
yeah.
almost lock yourself in the damn thing by accident.
I think that the privacy was why people liked it because I think some shit goes down in there at night.
That makes sense.
But anyway, that's where I met my fiance love of my life.
Darling, come to the bathroom.
Yeah, that's.
It was a good mic too, though. A lot of these things really were the good old days, man. Holy
Let's
fuck,
go
blue
bygone.
coal.
Sandwich spot. Let's talk about it.
Oh man, the place, all the sandwiches were named for comedians, but as soon as they got an open mic in there, they realized how bad an idea a comedy-themed
My
sandwich
favorite
shop
thing about
is.
the sandwich spot was that they had as a decor old comedy albums,
Yeah.
but they were all like terrible old comedy
Rappin'
albums.
Rodney.
The kind that you would know, because Rappin' Rodney is like a collector's item.
Well, that was
This
sort
is
of the
like-
centerpiece,
these were
though, on
ones
the
that they would
wall.
get
Oh,
from the
okay.
dollar bin.
Yeah,
like,
generally it would just be
C-list.
a lot of Cosby records, and this is before the controversy.
They would have had to change the decor if the place was still open.
I don't know that they would have. I think they would have kept it on there.
It's like we already dropped our $15 in the bargain bin at Record Surplus. We're gonna
Right.
die on this hill.
Yeah. Then we got 10 copies of Let's Get Small.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's we were making so much fun of it, but that I still would drive upwards of 15 to 20 minutes in traffic to get there to perform for 2 minutes or whatever
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
at
yeah.
that time.
Absolutely.
in a fully lit sunlight coming in.
Yeah.
Well, then you could go the 2 blocks to the Ground Zero at the Unurban back when it was on Thursdays.
It's so funny when you see certain people do various projects of where like corporate or something like that or some
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, oh yeah, I remember when those guys were performing at the sandwich spot.
I know it's people that I
Well, all 7. It's like, yeah, it was like like you, Eliza Skinner, Matt, Jake, Jesse Case, myself, and then like some guy that probably it's his only time he ever
You'll
did
never
co-
see that
Yeah,
person
you'll never
again.
see that person again.
I have a lot of you'll never see them again people.
Yeah,
And then you like remember like you
which
remember?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm that guy now.
Well, the Silver Lake Lounge used to have a lot of them.
Oh yeah, the you'll never see him again people.
Yeah, you remember Green or whatever his name was?
I don't remember Green.
He wore a green derby and green tights and a green jacket. And I think he was running for president at one point.
That sounds about right.
Or you remember this guy? He went to the Palms. I used to love
Wait,
this guy.
stop. What was Green? What did he do?
It was almost like a performance art kind of thing.
Yeah, you
but he
get
would
those.
try. It was an idea, but he didn't have a lot for jokes. But who knows? He might be still
but
doing his green thing
but
out
he
there
didn't like
somewhere.
entrench himself as hard as Scotty Barron did. Something
No,
like that.
He changed his name to Yellow.
Well, the other one I was going to mention that I ain't seen Lisa in a while. Do you remember Harv Hollywood?
I do remember Harv Hollywood.
I liked him. Does anybody remember this guy?
He said he was saying he was like I'm casting.
Casting for
yes.
His thing was he was a Hollywood producer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this guy, I talked to him. He was a guy that was like a carny. He'd done he was a fire breather and things like that.
Right.
Literally a carny. Oh, okay.
Well, before he was a comedian. I mean.
Oh, okay. I got you. I thought
He's
you
a
just meant
journeyman. He does a lot of stuff.
like he was. I thought you just meant he was like carny, like he was just like a shifty man.
No. I mean, he could speak his arm and that.
Right?
stuff.
Yeah, he was literally a carnival man.
Yeah, and I think he claimed he was on, and I believe him too. One of those commercials for I think film, Nokia or camera or something, where he did like a fire breathing thing.
Oh, okay.
But he had this character.
We all remember that.
Yeah, I loved the Nokia fire eating commercial.
Maybe it's out there though, because I'm just giving all the information because this is proof that Hollywood exists if he's out there. But he had this character where he was a Hollywood producer.
Sure.
I'm casting for you, babes.
He'd bring in a clipboard and he would read off it like he's like addressing a big room full of talent, which is actually, now that I think about it, at an open mic, like kind of genius.
It was a funny joke. It was a funny enough bit. It was just one of those things at a mic, and especially with like that, it's all kids when you go to these things. And he was making jokes like about casting for Rin Tin Tin and stuff like that.
He was an older gentleman for sure. Yeah.
There was.
I mean, when I thought his references are old, what does that tell you?
There was
Hollywood is
one
great.
guy that I remember quite distinctively, and every once in a while, me and Robert Yasamora, when I see him, will pine on the memories of this guy. But there was a guy named Chris Statz. I don't know if you remember this from. He would always be drawn first at the Bruco. For
And
some
his
reason,
name was
he'd always get
Statz?
Chris Statz.
Well,
He'd always
statistically, that's impossible.
yeah, and he'd always get drawn first and take the bullet
first
spot.
slot.
And I think he went
What are
to
the odds of that?
I think he went to the spot a couple of times. But he was like quite possibly the worst open micer I ever saw. Because he would go up there and he'd spend the first 2 minutes of his 5 minutes going like, "Hey, everybody, put your hands together for the Asian guy. Everybody, put your hands together for the older guy. Yeah,
Warm 'em
and
up.
tip your bartender. Tip your bartenders. This is a great establishment. This is really good. Now let me tell you a 3-minute story about how I'm trying to sleep with my super 17-year-old daughter."
Oh,
and he was just like so relentless.
I
Like, he
remember
was-
that name, but it's like a ghost.
Yeah, it was like one of those things where it was just.
This is like
it was
Ghosts
just
of the
like he would
Open
just-
Mic.
It's a statistical anomaly.
He would always. It was like there was a period of time he went to Bruco like for 5 weeks, and he always got picked first for some reason, and you would just see the exasperation on Robert's face when he would just be like, "Oh, it's Chris Statz."
That like is legitimately his demeanor too, and I feel like I kind of liked it. I didn't go to Westwood Bruco for probably 3 years because I had heard about Robert Yasamora being a mean guy, so I wanted to like have my shit together before I went there.
Yeah.
So I feel like I escaped that, but I definitely saw him dismantle careers before they were. I saw him do two things. I saw him dismantle careers before they started, but then I also saw him put people through the fire and they got better. Like Keith Kelly.
Oh God, yeah.
I saw him perform, and Robert Yasamora ripped into him, and I thought, "Oh, this guy's done." And now he's still
It was
around.
like
Now he's
night-
Keith
it
Kelly.
was like night
He got
and day
amazing.
because there was a thing where he was like doing his bit. And Robert was just like, "What are you trying to do? Like, what is your truth in this? You tell these stories, and I don't know what you're talking about." And then he did this bit about like being, and then he was just like, Keith was kind of shook, and then he was just like, "I've been really getting into the tap water lately." And it was, but it was awesome. I thought it was great. He was like, "Yo, I'll go see a woman watering her lawn with the garden hose." I'm like, "Yo, girl, let me tap that tap water." Just like, and then he disappeared for 2 weeks, and then he was awesome.
Yeah, I don't know what happened,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he quickly turned into one of my absolute favorite comics to watch.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing.
I remember the one time there was this guy that was going up, and he was like, it was his first time. I think he just started stand up, and he was like talking about, and he was like doing the thing where he was like, "Yeah, I know like so and so, like some semi-famous stand-up comedian from like, yeah, when I was doing comedy in some other place and blah blah blah." He was kind of talking himself up, and then he went up and he did this joke. I think he was like a Vietnamese guy, like a Vietnamese American guy, and he did like 2 straight jokes about Asian stereotypes. And Robert just stood up and he's like, "Oh, you're one of those. I'm fucking out of here." You know? And he just like stood in the doorway, smoking a cigarette. And it's always funny because he always wears the pinky ring, so he does like the whole thing. He looks like a mob boss.
Okay, can we say
and he's
this?
just like, he's like just like decimating this guy.
Yeah.
And the only laughter, everybody's like silent, and the only laughter is just like Chase Bernstein, like losing her mind laughing at how like savage this is. You know?
say Robert Yasamura looks like a mob boss. And I think that is apropos because if y'all have ever seen the movie Dick Tracy, he bears, when he takes off his glasses, he bears a strong resemblance to Flat Top.
Does he?
Check out the movie sometime.
Can we get a side by side on
Also,
on Twitter when we?
Yeah, I'll put this up on our Twitter. We're at the Goods Pod.
You got the thing now. I see now says you got to convert a box. There is a show on PBS called Wild Kratts. I do not like it, but there is a bad guy on
I do not
Wild.
like it.
No, but here's the important thing about it.
Okay.
There's a bad guy on there that looks just like Robert Yasamura, and I don't know what his name is, but if y'all ever watching Wild Kratts and you know what Robert Yasamura looks like, you will notice this too.
Wild Kratts?
What is
Yeah, it's the
Wild
Krat brothers. Remember the Krat brothers, Zaboomafoo? There was these two brothers.
What?
See,
Those were just made up words.
I thought it was
a
like
show.
the show with the lemur. Like,
Yeah, with the spider monkey, whatever that thing
a
was.
lemur,
But it was
yeah,
a
yeah.
puppet. It was a puppet one. But it was kind of an uncanny puppet.
The Kratts brothers Bazoomafu?
Zaboomafoo.
I know about Zaboomafoo because
Me and you and Zaboomafoo.
Well, because I have siblings that are 10 years younger than me. It's weird that your cartoon references are both 1945 and 1995.
I cover all the bases.
I gotta say, it seems like you guys are speaking a different language.
You don't know Zaboomafoo?
Yeah, but we speak Zaboomafoo over here. But just to finish it off, so there's these two Krat brothers, and they two guys on TV that host animal shows. And now they have a cartoon on PBS where they're like these adventure superhero type guys with superpowers. But one of the bad guys on the show, one of the supervillains, looks like Robert Yasamura. I think my badge just fell off.
I just like hearing you say Zaboomafoo. That's fun.
Zaboomafoo.
Zaboomafoo. That's just fun.
Zaboomafoo.
What does he do that's evil? He like
He tries to capture animals.
Okay. He doesn't castigate them for looking at over his shoulder at the list or something like that.
Look, you're not getting up yet.
Yeah.
I don't care how many creatures.
Calm down, all right?
I don't care what the fuck you say from the brink of extinction.
I don't give a fuck that your mom's in here. You're not getting up anytime sooner, you shit. Last holy fuck, that was like everybody going up. And the one thing that just cracked me up was just a long interlude where it was Dave Ross and Mark Maron talking. It's like that's the same guy.
Yeah,
throwing their voices, you know.
Father and son have finally met. Yeah,
so you're still running that show? Yeah.
That particular show, the last one, was the first time that Dave and I got into like a huge fight, probably like 5 minutes before we started, because it was just the pressure was so much. There was so many people, and we had, it was a big theater, but we had like.
Holy fuck, we should say, if you're listening, because we have a lot of listeners who are not.
Yeah, that was a show.
Canadians
We're not
and
just swearing randomly.
Yeah. Holy fuck, by the way, was a free comedy show that was in a movie theater downtown. And
now is the point where we're bringing you in.
Well, no, I mean, people for Robert's been on the show. People know who Robert is.
We'll edit it in afterwards.
Yes, Holy Fuck was a big show for a few years in downtown. It was in a big movie theater, and it sort of blossomed into this huge show. But we had one last show where even though the theater sat like 250 people, we still had it way packed, and we had all these people, because comics don't come up to shows. They don't come to shows on time.
Yeah,
ever. Even if they know it's a capacity thing.
Right.
So we just had so many people out in the street that we just we can't, legally we cannot let you in.
Yeah.
We're not allowed. And that's when Dave and I exploded over that. And then we had a little moment. We calmed down, and then I think that was probably one of the best shows we ever did.
Yeah.
I explain Holy Fuck to people that don't know anything about comedy, and people that I work with and stuff, and they're just like, I'd explain it. It's like it filled a movie theater, and they had to hire a security guard to keep people out because capacity was so high.
Yeah.
And this was just like a show, this wasn't a comedy club. It was outpacing all the comedy clubs.
Right.
It was like an auditorium style It even had, remember, the screen that come down.
Yeah.
It was like being in a lecture
It was
hall.
a movie theater. You had, I mean, we had like a 30-foot screen behind us.
Yeah, it's the Downtown Independent, which has been perpetually on the chopping block now.
Oh, yeah.
Basically, since I moved to LA, they're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, they're shutting it down next
It's
year.
definitely going to close. It doesn't make sense that it exists because whenever there was a movie showing, which would preempt us for some reason, there like 3 people would be in there, and it would be some shit straight to DVD kind of thing.
It's probably because they booked the event for
And
the thing to
paid for the
premiere or
theater.
some shit.
I'm
There was
imagining
lots of people.
I'm
at the thing,
imagining
though.
like an Up situation where they knock down everything on that block except for
that.
New Jalisco bar, like the Mexican gay bar. That's right next to-
Is that thing is?
Oh yeah, that place is awesome.
I didn't. I thought it
remember
was
when
some
they
kind
had
of
Riot-
punk band thing.
I remember they had. Well, there was the smell.
You're thinking
that
of
was
the
there.
smell.
Yeah.
I think. That's next door.
Because that was loud. You could hear like
Yeah,
the band like
that's what
Yeah,
I was
rehearsing.
New
thinking of the
Jalisco
smell.
bar was amazing because when they had Riot LA, which is the comedy festival in LA. The open mic was in New Jalisco bar, so it was all these like these Mexican gay guys that were just like there to go to the gay
It was
bar.
their spot.
It was their
Yeah.
spot. They were going to get some drinks and stuff like that, and then they're being buffeted by open mic comedy, and them heckling was so amazing. There's the Lexington, which is still one of those things where it's
Oh,
just
the
like,
Lexington.
Oh, is that still a thing?
It's,
Oh
yeah, yeah.
man, I got high and fell off the stage there.
Tell us everything.
It was 420 actually, and it was when Tony Bartolone moved the Revolution there, and I made the mistake of getting real high and just going on about how one of the band members looked Samoan to me the whole time. But I made it through the whole thing. The only problem was when I was done, I was so high that instead of like going off the right way, I just stepped off the front of the stage and fell.
Oh no!
You could
but
break an
it's-
ankle doing that.
Yeah, you know, a person who's not a gung fu trained Superman can't. But Goodnight just recovered like it was nothing. Everybody's like,
you rolled
are you
through.
all right? Did you die? And I was like, shit, man, I've been through worse.
It's like when AJ Styles like gets thrown by Brock Lesnar. You just rolled through.
Exactly. You know, I roll with the punches. I've been in the Battle of Antietam, you know, or at least the reenactment of it. So I've been through a lot in
You
life.
can handle getting a little physical at the Lexington.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in LA?
I moved here in August of 2008.
Oh, okay. And where are you from originally?
I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
I went to
Gotcha.
college in Boston.
Oh, okay.
Moved to Chicago. Then moved to Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. So
I've been
kind
a
of
lot of places.
Kind
Did
of
you
all
go
over.
to BU?
I did.
I
Yeah.
think we talked about that years
about it
ago.
Yeah. Because you came from Boston too, right?
Yeah, I went to BU. People don't know that.
Oh, wow.
but
I
did.
don't even think I knew that.
I don't know what people always forget that fun fact about Goodnight. Better bleep it out, actually.
It is pretty fun.
Well, they're not too proud of me there. They're not too proud of me. They don't mention me ever there.
You haven't been enshrined in the halls?
No.
Well,
no.
they also kind of were a little snooty about taking any help from Howard Stern too. He's a famous alum.
That's true.
They didn't
That's
want
true.
to take his money for a while.
Well, I'm not giving them money. I'll
I'm
tell you
not
that
either,
much.
but-
Because, I mean, how much money have I made
I
from
mean,
it?
all I know
Seriously, we're
about,
doing
all I
comedy.
knew about BU for the longest time is how Jonathan Richman would make fun of BU in like Modern Lovers songs.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Jonathan Richman, Route 128 with the power lines and the Stop and Shop and all them other obscure New England references in his songs.
Oh, I get
So
them. I
put
know the
on
stuff.
your silhouette and drop out of BU. You know, forgot which song that was.
But I kind of feel like
Government Center. Didn't he have one called that?
Yeah,
I don't know. I know Government Center. though.
It was
That
a T,
That
yeah.
was the stop that had Dunkin' Donuts underground.
Plus the ugliest state house in the United States,
yeah.
the Boston State House. I mean, the
Florida
Boston
one, no, the
City
Florida
Hall.
one's worse.
What's the Florida one look like?
Oh, the one that looks like a dick.
Yeah, it looks like genitals.
Yeah.
That's
The
better.
genitals would look better than the Boston one because the Boston one looks like some drunk paid his cousin who worked in the parks department to make the ugliest building he possibly can. He
Yeah.
got drunk and just drew something at the last second and they built it.
It's the architecture style is called brutalism.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
And it's just concrete, and it's just like a fortress of fuck you.
It's an eyesore. If y'all have ever seen the movie where Tommy Lee Jones plays a mad Irish bomber and the guy from Gettysburg, Dumma Dumma, what's his name?
Jeff Daniels.
Jeff Daniels, thank you, Rivers, has to stop him. It is in that movie, but they claim it as Boston Police Headquarters in it.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it seems like it should be Boston Police Headquarters too. I mean, it's very like
I would be intimidated being
authoritative.
locked up in that thing. Yeah.
Omaha is right across the river from Iowa, right?
Yeah, it's right across the river
From Cedar Bluff, right? Is
from
that their-
Council Bluff.
Council Bluff. There we
It's
go.
like our Springfield, Shelbyville kind
Oh,
of.
okay, gotcha.
You'd go to Council Bluffs. I think like I didn't know this because I was a teenager, but like I think like the bars were open later. Or,
Oh, okay.
or there was also a thing like where there were strip clubs in Council Bluffs.
Oh, that did you ever go to any strip clubs in Council Bluffs?
I think at one point I finally did it, but I quickly did not.
One lonely Christmas.
I'm not a strip club guy.
No?
How would you rate that one anyway?
Well, I mean, in my limited experience, I've been to two, and I would say it was a little classier than the other one that I went to, which was in Waverly, Nebraska.
Oh,
in the middle
okay.
of nowhere.
It's no Waverly, Alabama.
It's not Waverly, Alabama.
I just kind of don't know about them because I was soured on them really early on because you could go to this one in Waverly when you were 18. And so when all of my friends turned 18.
Strip club and juice bar.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, no, that's a
Because there's no
lot of
alcohol.
places did that. Where that was like in Florida, that was like a thing.
I think you
where-
could bring it in maybe. But I don't know. But anyway, so we're all 18. We're like, we're going to go to a strip club. This is going to be like a Porky's experience or whatever. And this is when I stopped. I was like, I'm never coming to this again. Because I saw this. If you had glasses, the move was the woman would take the glasses off of your face. She would rub them on her vagina and then put them back on your face. And I was like, no, I'm out. I've never been to a strip club since. It's like, I don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't want to have to spray your glasses down with
You could get pink eye or
Summer's Eve or whatever you used to clean, parts like that.
something. And it's not, well, it's not even an issue. It's not even a misogyny thing. I don't want genitals on my glasses.
Yeah, whether it's nuts or
I have astigmatism.
Gash,
These
you
cost money.
Yeah, right. I can't wear contact lenses. Same. I'm in the same boat as you.
Oh, if she took out your contacts and put them in there, no way I'd put them things like in my eyes.
So yeah, it's Nebraska.
I was gonna say, yeah. What is there to do? I'm trying to remember. if
Strip
we've-
clubs.
Have you
That's
not
what they're to
been
do.
to Nebraska?
I've driven through Kansas, so I feel like I've been to
That's a
Nebraska.
different state.
Yes.
Despite the Kansas
Start
Nebraska
emo bands
act.
in the early 2000s. That's a big Nebraska thing.
Oh, we had, yeah, that's where Bride. Well, first off,
Yeah.
when I was in junior high, 311 was Omaha Pride.
Oh, they're from Omaha.
Yeah.
I thought they were from New Orleans for some reason.
No.
Really?
We
Way off on Outwood Road.
Wow.
311 Styley is Omaha Styley.
What? I mean, what the hell do you do for fun
I can't
in
believe
Omaha?
you've never been. Have you been to Omaha?
I have
Pat?
not,
You've
no.
never. Good night. Have you ever been?
I don't remember, but I've been to Nebraska once.
Yeah, I think it's crazy you guys haven't been to Omaha.
I mean, I would like to go.
Such an all-American town.
I would like to go too, but I don't do the Midwest all that much.
Why not?
Just haven't really got much of a chance.
Okay, well, I think
Every
it's
time I've ever
might be right.
driven across the country, it's always been from like the southern states. Like I feel like Nebraska
Yeah.
might be
Yeah,
more
yeah.
of an experience if you're coming from like Chicago.
Yeah,
or,
actually, when I went through that was because we went from New York to California.
Yeah, I
It's a
I went
cross-country
through Kansas.
destination.
Yeah, and that's when I drove cross country. I drove across with my dad, and we went into like a Ryan Steakhouse. And the waitress, who was like, kind of like a high school student, she was probably in high school, and like she was doing her high school job. And my dad just sat there, and he at the end of it, he's just like, "What the fuck do you like do here? Like what?" And she was just like, "We have field parties."
field parties.
Yeah, that's what I expected.
Was there cow tipping?
Well,
There's
I
probably
mean,
some cow tipping.
Cow tipping ain't bad.
You gotta know. You gotta know somebody though.
yeah. Also, cows don't sleep standing up, so you gotta you're doing it while they're awake.
Hey, I'm all about danger, man.
But I gotta implore you all to go to Omaha. We have a world-class zoo.
Okay.
One of the
Yes,
best.
yes.
I'll go.
One of the best in the world. There's a comedy scene now.
Yeah.
You could
Okay.
get up. You could get time.
Yeah,
For sure.
I'll do comedy anywhere. The sun, Omaha
they
sounds
like
good,
you.
all right.
I think they like.
I think I might like them. If you're less than Omaha, bring all the pretty Omaha women and all your Omaha money if Goodnight's ever in town.
I think the three of you could successfully pull off an Omaha show. I think you got the right vibe.
Yeah.
I think that you would enjoy it. The people are real.
Right.
The booze is cheap, and they want to laugh. Like
I think I'm in
wanna
love.
Have a good time.
It sounds like a real American kind of place.
It is very American.
Yeah.
And they got a hit part of town now that they went in after I had moved away, because I moved away because I was like, this is like Van Nuys, but without scenery.
Right.
Then I move away, and then I come back when I'm in my 20s just to visit, and there's like a whole hit part of
That's
town.
what happened to Birmingham,
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Yeah,
Just young people were like, we've got money now.
They tried
Yeah.
to do that with Melbourne, Florida, but they made it just like butt rock as hell. So they just put a bunch of bars in there, and they were all just like these butt rock bars with like 311 cover bands and stuff like that. And it's just like, well, off the tracks. You can go to debauchery next.
We're hot-blooded.
No, I literally went to this one bar. I might have mentioned this on there. There was this bar called Debauchery, and so it was an early episode.
Good
I
name.
talked about Debauchery because it had a feud with this other place called G's Ultra Lounge.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Yeah,
this.
where it was this guy named Gerard. He called himself G. He had like gold braces on his teeth, and he like created this bar. And his girlfriend ended up leaving him and for the guy that owned Debauchery.
Yeah.
And took G's dog, and then the guy from Debauchery painted the pit bull that he took from G in the custody case on the wall.
shit.
Yeah, it was.
That is cold.
Yeah, I know. The place is the worst. It has like the one-sided mirrors, like that you could see into the other bathroom. And
Wait,
like,
what?
Yeah, it's like
Where is this place?
No, it's just over the sinks. You know, so it's not. Yeah, it's,
that's
it's
no
still,
fun.
It's still sketchy as hell. And
Yeah.
and I went in there one time. I've been in there like 3 times, and they had a 311 cover band that was just 13-year-old boys playing. Like a 13
cheap child labor.
Right, though.
And all the guys look like that one of the younger guy that is from Storage Wars. Not
Yep.
Yeah, not that guy, but the guy that's married that always wears like long Dickie shorts and tall like white tube socks.
The guy
They all
who
look like that
guy
guy.
who has a son?
No,
You're talking Daryl?
Not Daryl. I'm talking
Okay.
about Jared.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
who
the
comes
guy
with
from
Brandy.
Subway.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to him with the big pants?
After a stint on Storage Wars,
Didn't Barry die from Storage Wars?
I saw Barry at the Trader Joe's in Los Feliz at one point. So
Barry
might be
lives.
all right.
So Barry lives.
Barry lives.
know.
Apparently lives near Danzig.
They probably hang out. It's like, Barry, have I showed you my book collection?
Yep.
It's like,
Los
no, let
Feliz.
me see your book collection. These are werewolf books.
I think you guys could get Barry on this show.
Yeah,
Why not?
sure.
I would hope so at this point.
Is it?
Who is it again?
The show Storage Wars.
I never seen this show. I'm always afraid some shit of mine will show up on it or something.
No, it's like the thing where it was like it came out after the whole.
When people, when you get storage and
Yeah,
you
I
can't
think
pay it,
was
they
like-
auction
yeah,
your
it was
shit
like-
off.
it was
I think you legitimately word for word said the intro to the show.
Did I?
When people have storage and they can't afford
pay
it.
for it.
Well, I know it from real life.
Well, no, because it came out after.
I was
the-
going to sell my guns that way.
Yeah, it was like it came out after the thing where like Paris Hilton had a storage locker that she didn't like pay up on,
Yeah.
and then like I think Barry bought it, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna get this guy," and then like a bunch of other randos, and then we're gonna stage it, so we're gonna go out to Victorville and have them buy storage units, but we're gonna like slip in
Yeah.
some sort of expensive thing where it's just like, well, I bought this thing. I'm gonna go ask the guy I'm gonna ask Brad Whitfield from Aerosmith, how much these guitars cost.
And he's on every episode. Guitars or not. They always
Really?
ask
The guy from
Brad Whitford.
Aerosmith is? Does he ever play Nobody's Fault?
By the way, speaking of Victorville, first of all, big shout out to our listener at Watkins a Go Go. Came out to see me and Joe Raines went to the brand new first ever in California Cracker Barrel in Victorville last
Whoa,
week.
they put a Cracker Barrel in Victorville?
It's the first one in California. We went out and I tweeted about it, and one of our friends who listens to the show was like, "Oh shit, I'm working right next to that. I'll come see you guys." So he
Is
came
it-
out and hung out with us on the porch and shot the
power of
shit with us
Is
for a
it-
minute.
special in any way?
Man,
or is
it is
typical?
special in how disappointing the country store is.
Really?
Yeah. So Cracker Barrel.
Not enough Alabama albums for you?
No, nothing. No albums. It was like the basic bitch section of Target. Like you go in there and there was like rocks with the word faith carved into them and shit like that. Like,
Sure, yeah.
Like literally what.
That sounds like, can we say this on there? A real pussy Cracker Barrel.
It's terrible.
Whoa.
They painted
Whoa.
the walls were painted white also, so it had this very bright appearance. Cracker Barrel is meant to be like dark green walls with like sleds nailed to the fucking walls. These were
California
This
Cracker
was a
Barrel.
California Cracker Barrel,
So they put avocado on everything.
yeah, they had like they had like sundress. Like the food was still up to the standard. It was great.
How are
So
the vegan options?
Huh?
How are the vegan options?
Almost none. So
So
they
basically, they just have the restaurant Cracker Barrel, but instead of a country store, they put like a Chico's or something there.
basically, yeah, like a cold water creek or whatever that
Okay.
shit is, where they sell sundresses and candles.
Let me ask you this though: how was the puzzle thing at the seats? Because those things are hard, and did they dumb it down for California people? That
Oh,
can't read?
you were looking at Ignoramus
genius.
right now.
So you're looking at another one right here.
man.
If anybody has ever beat that thing,
Tweet at us.
Yeah, let us know because I don't know if you have, Pat, but we are ignoramus.
If you beat it, they make you become Uncle Herschel.
Well, I beat it all the time, and I'm not him yet.
There's a I'm waiting for that. That's like that, and I don't know if that or Waffle House is going to make it out and breach.
The Cracker Barrel,
LA.
by the way, was panda fucking monium.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. Like we walked up and they were like, just so you know, it's going to be a 2.5 hour wait.
Oh my God. I
And-
don't wait that long.
Well, here's the thing.
You could drive to another state in that time.
You could drive to Arizona to the other nearest Cracker
Skip the
Barrel.
line.
Yeah, well,
No, thank you. I'll go to the one in Arizona.
and so I called their bluff. I was like, this is what happened, because I not bragging, I've opened a Chick-fil-A before. This is what you tell people. This is what you tell people to tell them to fuck off when you're too busy. You're like, and if you're like rushed at a pizza place, if you call a pizza place and they say it's going to be 2.5 hours for a delivery, they mean it's like an hour and a half probably.
Yeah.
Because you just tell people that to get them to go the fuck away when you're too crazy. So I was like, I bet it's not that long. So we were like, okay, put our name on the list. And yeah, it was like 45 minutes or whatever. So it didn't end up being that long. But anyway, point is, it was fucking crazy. So I'm saying if Cracker
Because
Barrel's...
people have to write Vice articles, dude. All right.
Oh, no. It's not... that won't start happening till we get one in Burbank.
Oh yeah.
And that's where I want to build mine.
Sure.
I swear to God, it's like these things like the Cracker Barrel. It's like all these Californians, like they go to the thing and they stare slack-jawed at it like they've never been in America before and been to a damn Cracker Barrel.
they haven't, though.
I mean-
California is an island. They, well,
It's an island unto itself.
Yeah.
Well, if you would think, though, they would realize they really ain't missing that much with the Cracker Barrel. I mean, I'll be honest
man.
about that. I mean, they got a lot of food out here, and never have I sat there eating California food and think, boy, I miss that Cracker Barrel okra.
Oh, that's exactly what I got, too.
That's what everybody gets. And
Got the okra
because
and the
I'm-
hash brown casserole.
Because I always wonder, like, if they opened an Applebee's in Echo Park, would that be?
It would be huge.
huge.
if it's open late,
Or
anything would be huge
it's
there.
big.
Well, I think that you do get the ironic.
Yeah.
You're gonna that'll like survive it for a little while.
If you specifically somehow talked corporate into letting you be a full-on ironic Applebee's, like if you could literally just call it
genius.
ironic Applebee's, do nothing else with the menu
Yeah.
but just name the menu item something shitty, like just being like cheeseburger, comma, I guess.
Young people will go to anything that's open late. You remember, like BU, right? Boston.
Yeah.
What was open late there? Nothing except IHOP. So
yeah,
that's
you
where you
always
go
end
at
up
night.
you always end up at an IHOP. When it was Omaha, it was Village Inn. It's always like the pie place that's open 24 hours.
Yeah, and the Applebee's would be a lot cheaper than the place. What is that called? Bright Spot.
Fuck Bright Spot.
Oh yeah, nobody likes.
I want to.
I went to
open
Bright
up
Spot for the first time because Street Level was closed.
because you wanted to pay $9 for French
And I
fries.
was like, I went in there and like we had food, and I was just like, oh, this is completely underwhelming. And
Dude.
I just spent gajillion
It's so
dollars.
heartbreaking too because it's like, oh man, you know what would be so awesome to have right there on Sunset Boulevard, a cheap ass diner,
Yeah.
that has a mid-century feel.
And that is why.
But you'd never get in there without an endless wait.
Well,
That was
here's the thing, and I don't know if this is true, but I've talked to some of my sources, and apparently Waffle House has a political problem with California. Like their their business taxes are too high or some shit.
Okay. I thought
so
it was like a gay marriage thing.
No. They're like taking like a stand against like, California being detrimental to business or some bullshit. If Waffle House decides to pull their head out of their ass and open up a fucking location in LA, that Vaughn's parking lot right next to Bright Spot, slightly too big. You could pop a Waffle House there, buy 3 parking spots, lines out the fucking door every night when the Echoplex empties out. I've had this plan for years, and
just make the Vons the Waffle House.
Yeah.
Get rid of that Vons.
One
That Vons
gigantic
is-
Waffle
Vons
House.
is
That Vons
atrocious.
that Vons is amazing because apparently it was been renovated and it's just like to like a slightly crappier, less crappy Vons. Like, I
That
can't
Vaughn's
imagine
is
what
where you use the bathroom when you go to the taco truck. That's always outside.
That's a good taco truck, though.
It is.
How long were you in Chicago?
I was in Chicago for 3 years.
Oh, okay. Were you
And
going
that's
to
when-
school there? Or
I did a little improv in Chicago.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, because I graduated from BU, and then I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. I had a film degree, but I had no connections at all in Los Angeles at all. Didn't know even how you would even begin to move across the country to Los Angeles. So I had a friend named Tony who said, I'm going to take classes at Second City. And I'm like, that do
works
for a while.
Yeah.
And so I sort of just like fell into doing improv for about 3 years until I realized I hated it.
Yeah.
I love it and I hate it. But, then I actually just did the thing, and I was just like, I'm going to go to Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
With no prospects, job.
What did you do for a
friends,
job in
et cetera.
Chicago?
Chicago, I worked as a admin in a school. It was a
Admin. I thought you said I was an ad man for a school.
I was an admin for a school. I was like, you gotta.
Excuse me, sir. Can I talk to you about the school for a moment?
Have you thought about school? No,
doing
I worked
school?
just in the front office of this school that was run by a Jewish charity.
Okay.
That was for kids who couldn't be in regular schools for like either disability or behavioral problems.
Oh, all right.
But that was because I'm from Nebraska.
Right.
I'm from Omaha. I had never met. I have one friend who's Jewish, but other than that, I had no even inkling of Jewish culture. And I was like adopted into this Jewish school, and they taught me all about all the culture, the food, the holidays.
Did they adopt you to one of the tribes?
I don't think I fully got into tribe, but I definitely learned about Sukkot. I learned about the dishes, Passover, all that stuff.
Sukkot, you caught me on that one.
Sukkot is where they. Okay, now I'm going to sound.
It's a river in Maine, right?
Yeah, they all go to Maine.
They all go to Maine.
No, it involves like building a hut.
Yeah, there was like a thing where it's like kind of you.
There was an episode of The League about Sukkot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, was that the show with like Batman and everybody?
Yeah, no, it was.
I'm trepidatious to go into further details about what Sukkot is.
Yeah.
Oh, I might make
For more
sure
information on Sukkot, check out The League or The Torah. Take your pick.
or both if you sync them up.
Or both. Yeah, it's like Wizard of Oz and
Yeah, if you
Dark Side.
sync them up, it matches.
What was your first open mic in LA?
Oh, this is great, actually. I moved to North Hollywood, and I lived a stone's throw from the 170 freeway.
Okay.
I lived at Magnolia and the 170. It was so close to the freeway that when I would vacuum my apartment, it would just be like the canister would be filled with soot.
Yeah,
my place is like that.
We got that here,
'cause I'm so
too.
close to 405.
Just
You
so
guys
close
too.
to the freeway.
The 101 is literally
right
right up
there.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. right out that
Every
window.
day, it's like I need a maid because every day it's like Vesuvius is going off
It's just
or something.
dust.
Yeah.
You're breathing it. And anyway, that's like my first apartment. I didn't know anybody except for another dude in my building, and I used to get high with him, and then I realized, I can't do marijuana. Anyway, we lived like 15 minutes away from the Ha Ha Cafe.
Oh, yeah.
It was going that way.
And that is the first place that I ever did comedy in
Oh,
Los
boy.
Angeles. It was like my go-to mic. I didn't even think about going onto the other side of the hill. So I was at a Ha Ha Cafe for like 3.5 months, just doing it like once, twice a week at the like pay $5, get a shitty Bud Light, and then do the mic at 4 p.m.
Oh,
wow.
Man, that ha-ha mic is
It's brutal.
it's brutal.
Open mics are brutal, but the Ha Ha Cafe would somehow
compounds the brutality.
Yeah. Well, it was like people that clearly had mental issues. And I mean, you get that in every open mic, but these were people that were like, oh, you should be seeking some sort of professional help.
I always would think of it as the line of people that would wait out at like 1 p.m. in front of the Laugh Factory to sign up for the open mic, and you wonder where these guys come from. They come from the haha.
Yeah.
That's where they come from.
Couldn't get up at the haha, so I came.
Yeah, no, they're like, no, they go and they sign up at 2 p.m. for next week's open mic at the Laugh Factory, and then they go to the haha and do their.
And then they flap it out.
Yeah, they I think Flappers might have taken a lot of those guys.
Taking some of the heat, yeah.
My favorite Flappers thing, I don't think I've ever told this before. I went up to Flappers. This was probably 2012, 2013. It was right when I moved here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely 2012 because I was still wearing like a suit jacket and stuff like that when I went up on stage. And I was sitting there with my fucking notebook outside, and this guy who had clearly just come out of the kitchen, like he had like an apron on and like a towel hanging out of his belt, sat down and he was like, "Oh, are you a comedian?" I was like, "Yeah, he just moved here." And he was like, "I've always wanted to try that, man. Like, it's just always been something wanted to try." I was like, "Man, you work here, just do it. Like, they'll give you stage time. You know, there's a mic. You could probably just sign up."
Yeah, they probably won't pay you next week because they'll say, "Well, you had your pay."
You had your pay.
They'll just enroll you in classes,
right? You know? But he was like, "Yeah, you know, it's just something I've always wanted to try. I love stand up. It's like my favorite thing to watch." I was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "How do you do it? How do you write jokes?" And I was like, "You know, you just kind of like think about your favorite maybe stories to tell, or just trying to help him out a little bit, right?" He gets up and this was like a couple hours later. He actually put his name in the bucket.
You push him to try his dream.
I fucking got him to do it. He put his name in the bucket. And
that man's name is Brandon Wardell.
Oh no, it's even better than that, dude. He goes up and I he went up right after me, and I was sitting there and I was like, he was like, "Oh, are you gonna hang out?" I was like, "I'll hang out and watch you." And they're like, "All right, so and so," and he goes up and grabs the mic and he's like, I fucking hate Armenian people."
Oh no!
Was there Turks in the audience? Because that might have killed me.
Oh no!
That's how he opened, and I was like,
Rivers.
I didn't tell him to say. I just said to tell him like a funny story,
no.
and so then I just backed out of the room and walked to my car. I was like, I'm not taking any responsibility for this.
Oh my god!
It was amazing. I was like, because it was very like kind of sweet the way we were talking, because he was like, "Yeah, you know, it's something I've always wanted to try," and you know, all this stuff, and then when given the mic, he just immediately went racist.
And I said, "Ain't that a barrel of motherfuckers, and ain't that a kick to the head? My country loving woman went and left me for another, left me wishing that I was dead. Took 15 shots of whiskey, get that lady out of my head. So ain't that a barrel of motherfuckers, and ain't that a kick to the head?"
Tell us about your podcast.
My podcast is called Exit Strategy. And basically every week I have on another comedian, and we discuss what that person would do if they no longer did comedy.
Why I think Jeff's podcast premise is amazing is because stand-up comedy, especially people that are practicing it and pursuing it as a career, it's like so totalizing that the idea of what after or escaping from this kind of totalizing world is like really interesting, because it's something that really isn't considered for people that are really on the track and really grinding on it.
Yeah. I don't know that people that aren't comedians know that totalizing thing. And it's not just that you're always doing comedy. It's that you kind of can only take certain day jobs, that you kind of get rid of certain friends that just the timing of it doesn't work. You kind of just all your eggs get thrown
and
into
you live in as Rivers does. Your roommates are comedians. People, date from within a lot.
You can't joke around with people at the office because your senses of humor are so different.
It makes for like when you go back home, especially if you're having dinner like at your parents' house with their friends and you drop some fucking joke.
You're sharp as a knife.
And people are just like, what?
Yeah. I wouldn't, but I feel like, on the flip side of it, when I'm like, at some presentation or some like conference or something like that, and there's always like some academic that is doing,
and you're like, this guy fucking sucks.
They're trying to like do, they try
this guy's
really
a
hard
fucking hack.
and I'm just sitting there, just like,
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Give 'em the light.
But then something like happens where something like messes up, or there's some turn of wording that just is like, and then I'm the only one laughing. It's like a very weird sort of like. I remember talking to Jesse Case about this one time, and it's like nobody's funny anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of a thing where nobody becomes funny, and you develop this warped sense of...
And you also, I don't think that because I have a day job right now, and there was a sign up like, hey, we're all going to the improv lab to watch a comedy show. Do you want to go?
Fuck you.
I don't enjoy comedy anymore. And that was like a weird concept for them. They're like, but don't you do comedy? Yeah, I've seen a lot of it. It doesn't work on me.
Oh, man.
All the tricks are out now.
I had I did a show. I had a bunch of friends in town, and I did a show. And one of my friends who lives in LA called another one of her friends. Was like, "Hey, we're all going out." It was a bunch of Alabama people, and she was like, "Oh, that sounds fun." And they all went to the show. And then afterwards, I met her friend who lives here, and it turns out she's dating a comedian. And I was like, "I am so sorry you had to come to this," because I felt fucking terrible that she'd been dragged out to this thing that I'm sure she has no interest in anymore.
And also, as a comedian, I don't want to know anyone in the audience. So I also have to put people, anybody real in my life, like that, coworkers, friends, you kind of have to be like, please don't come to this. If you come to this, I will not be good, because I'll be thinking of you guys in the audience.
I actually don't mind that anymore.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's that's stopped bothering me. I don't know. I do like shows every time I'm home.
Yeah.
Because why the fuck wouldn't you? Like, I'm sure Alabama's probably very similar to Omaha, where it's like, oh, people will just come out and sit in a room and drink and laugh. That said, every time if I perform in Auburn, half the fucking crowd is people I know.
Yeah.
You know.
But do you find on the podcast that people kind of have a somewhat clearly articulated sense of like what the exit strategy is? You know, because I mean, it is a thing of like a lot of it's like giving up your friend base. That's enmeshed.
Somebody said that, and I can't credit this person because I've completely forgotten who the fuck said this. So this is not mine, but it's a thing that I think about all the goddamn time on this topic. Somebody and it was one of those things that was like, this is a joke that would only work at an open mic, but it's the truest shit I've ever heard. Somebody said, comedy is like crack. Eventually all your friends are crackheads and all you talk about is crack.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, that's
Or it's like,
right.
And then it kills you.
And then it kills you.
And then you just become emaciated and die.
Oh my God, yeah.
I find that the responses have run the gamut. There are definitely people who have real problems even entertain, like people. It has kind of broken people in answering that question. Like they just can't quite even entertain the idea of hypothetical.
Sure.
Like, it's just so weird.
Yeah.
But then I've also interviewed people who are almost like, just give me it. Give me the chance. I will do it.
Give me the ripcord. I'll get it out. Yeah.
No, I find that stuff really fascinating. Because, I had a chapter in my dissertation about that, like that aspect of, the exit strategy or exiting stand-up comedy. And when I saw that Jeff was doing that podcast, I was like, this is awesome, because...
Did you credit me in your dissertation?
Oh, well, this was prior to the dissertation, but
can I make a confession?
Yeah?
I got the idea for the podcast from your dissertation.
Oh, no.
What? Can we release the... how long is that dissertation? We should just have you read it as a book on tape and put that out as
120 words.
120 words?
No, 120 pages.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, never mind.
Yeah, it's
read the what's the one you
note.
Read the intro and the ending.
Yeah, there we go.
It's really not good.
But it got you that DR in front of your name, dude.
That I don't use unless I'm trying to be catty with customer service.
Or if we're doing our wrestling show. Dr. Pat's.
Doctor
Pat.
It's a good name.
Yeah. How many episodes in are you guys?
It's 2022 now, I think.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It's been going for a couple of months now.
That's good. We're
awesome.
278.
Oh yeah, you guys are grandfathers.
Yeah, we're,
No, I'm just kidding. Actually, how many is it?
This will be episode 181.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I feel old.
The big 200's coming up. What are you going to do for the big 200 show?
I don't know
Hopefully it
yet.
involves crack and hookers.
Ooh, you should go to that strip club in Nebraska.
Yeah, there we
Check that
go.
out.
Maybe we'll do it from Omaha.
Do it on location from Omaha.
Sounds good to me,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Hey,
Check the analytics. You got any fans from Omaha?
I'm sure we do.
If you are from Omaha and you listen to Goods from the Woods, tweet at them and say, we'll see you in Omaha.
Okay, yeah. Hashtag we'll see you in
And if
Omaha.
enough people tweet that,
You'll see us in Omaha.
you'll see him in Omaha.
Yeah, exactly.
For the big 200.
Especially if y'all are, paying us for it.
Yeah,
Well, that would help. But real people have money, too. That's another thing.
yeah.
You know,
They do. I thought nobody had it anymore.
real people with real jobs have money.
real money.
Yeah, that's true. That's one of the things that pisses me off the most. Remember we talking about comedy? One of the things that pisses me off the most. I see people my age, they get houses and
Yeah.
kids and trucks and shit.
Yeah. We gave that
The three
up.
things.
And I have 20-year-old guns and nothing new even.
We gave up that chance because we wanted to do comedy.
Yeah.
We could have done that.
I think I want out. Maybe that'll be the 200th episode.
You just get up and leave.
Or I'll start a Kickstarter or something. Somebody buy me a truck or something.
Somebody buy Mr. Goodnight, please.
Yeah, please. Yeah, buy me, like the toy.
You could be a
Remember that?
kept man. Some rich lady out there.
Yeah, good idea. If y'all looking for gigolo, but like like good looking, like Isabella Rossellini or Liza Minnelli or something like that,
Yeah.
and y'all want a real man, call me up because I am available these days.
How are your rates?
Competitive.
Competitive.
Very competitive.
OBO.
Exactly. No, none of that, man. I will bathe and everything before I meet up with them. There will be no BO involved.
Oh my God, that's so gross. There's no BO involved.
Yeah, ain't no BO involved, but I'm a gigolo, you understand?
He's got
I do it
standards.
classy style.
Oh God.
Spray some dollar store Axe and some dollar store Tim McGraw on me before I meet up with ladies.
wait, whoa.
Tim McGraw.
Is that
What
the
is
col-
that?
Is that their cologne?
Yeah.
Is it Tim McGraw branded?
It's Tim McGraw branded cologne.
No, it's Jordache, identical to similar to Tim McGraw or whatever.
So it's one separate.
All right, specifically, it's dollar store. All right, I admit it. It's dollar store Tim McGraw knockoff. But ladies, if y'all out there, y'all know you do the same thing with your purses too.
Do they have knockoff like? Do they have like knockoff like a Michael Jordan cologne?
Yeah, they knock off everything you can
Yeah,
think
where
of.
it's just like Isaiah Thomas cologne or something. Vlade Divac cologne.
But I just didn't realize that Tim McGraw had branched out into
I
the
didn't know.
cologne.
Oh, wait, I
That's
don't know.
more than one.
I didn't know that Tim McGraw was not only that he was in Cologne, but that he was successful enough to have imitators to the
knockoff.
throne.
Yeah.
Oh, he has. Not only does he have more than one cologne, because he also has Tim McGraw Southern style, which
It just smells like biscuits.
I don't know, but my brother has it, and he won't let me use it because he's cheap.
How much does a bottle of Tim McGraw go for?
Well, I don't know. $1 when I get it, plus whatever the California tax is. I don't know how he got his hand on this Tim McGraw,
all right,
but Tim
we gotta
McGraw
go
is
to
a
Macy's
slot
and
machine
get
too.
Okay, so listeners to the show, if you are into supporting us in our venture, send us a small amount of money, $2-3 here, so we can get Mr. Goodnight legitimate Tim McGraw
Southern style.
Southern
Yeah,
style
real
bottle of
cologne,
Tim
man. 'cause
McGraw cologne.
My
Yeah.
brother is too cheap to give me even a squirt of that.
Yeah, so
stuff.
we need to get.
I think we're on we're on PayPal at the Goods Pod.
Yeah,
Just
so
find us.
get Goodnight Tim McGraw
We're
cologne.
gonna get a Kickstarter
so he
we
doesn't
can.
have to do this dollar store Tim McGraw.
Yeah, and if you're a
cologne
pretty
stuff.
lady, you can actually meet me and smell it, and we'll go to Shakey's or someplace on the Redondo Beach Pier or some nice place together.
Can we get Tim McGraw involved?
Oh,
I mean, let's
God.
tweet at Tim McGraw.
Yeah, let's get him.
Let's
Yeah.
go right to the top.
we can get this.
Tim
we can
McGraw,
get
I want to
this-
smell like you, man.
Smell wise, what is the difference between the Tim McGraw and the Tim McGraw Southern style?
I don't know. One, I don't have too good a sense of smell, and second, of all, my brother don't keep it near me. He hides the stuff
If
because
we get it quick enough, if we get the money quick enough, and you're in the Yukon for the Yukon Comedy Festival,
God.
Oh, I'll wear it
you
there.
can
Yeah.
smell Mr. Goodnight, but it's
$5.
actually
In the flesh, baby.
in the flesh.
Yeah, for
and
$5.
it's actually Tim McGraw Southern style,
And you
I'm
can
looking this
smell me
up.
all over Canada because I will smell that good.
and not Jason Aldean Northern style.
Yeah.
You could say, "Well, we did
Inspired
it."
by Tim McGraw.
Yeah, you can watch all the comedians. And said, "You see, Mr. Goodnight? Yeah, did you like him? Nope, but he smelled
Yeah,
better than anybody
He
up
doesn't
on
have to
this
use
stage."
that big and rich cologne.
Do you want the Southern style or the regular style? We should get that out of the way.
I should actually probably ask my brother because he would know better.
It's $20.
Well, no wonder my brother gets the hiding it from me because people pay that much for cologne.
So let's see.
If we can have 20 listeners,
Or if 20 listeners
PayPal's
send a dollar, to the good
Or Tim McGraw, because I know it'll be a tax write-off for you, helping increase the population of North America when I get that stuff.
It's $20.
I think this is doable.
Send it to me, Tim McGraw.
executable.
Okay.
If you want to just take the plunge.
60 listeners, just
1050.
If you've got $20.
if 80 listeners send us 25 cents.
I will smell better than ever. Because you can't smell this over the internet. Not that it smells bad if you could. But I do not smell enough like Tim McGraw right now, and that needs to change.
I agree. I agree. Very much agree.
Yeah.
I want to smell so much like Tim McGraw that Tim McGraw's own dogs won't recognize me.
You'll get your very own. You'll find your own Faith Hill.
Faith Hill, yeah.
It's your love. It just does something to me. It sends a shock right through me. I can't get enough. And if you wonder about the spell I'm under, oh, it's your love. It's
The podcast is Exit Strategy. Jeff, tell people where you can find you on the internet, sir.
You can find my Twitter at Wattenhofer. And if you can't spell that, just look up at Exit Strategy Pod.
Where would we go if we wanted the latest tweets from, say, Bugs Bunny, Yosemite Sam?
Then you would go to at WB Looney Tunes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you ever find yourself right in Linoleum City in East Hollywood
Yeah.
on
Head on
a
down
Friday
to-
night, boy, go to Desano's Pizza.
Head on down to Sauce.
And go see Sauce. Yeah. Goddamn. I got shit to plug. I'm doing a Comedy Off Sunset in Mesa, Arizona. So you can come see me and Joe Rayans, Evan Kessler, February 22nd. And afterwards, we will take the crowd to Waffle House. I'm making a campaign promise right now. If you come into the show, plan on staying late and going to Waffle House afterwards, because we like our shit scattered, smothered, and junked, baby.
If you bring
Caps.
a bottle of Tim McGraw cologne, can they get a discount?
I will cover the cost of smothering your hash browns.
If you bring Tim McGraw
Yeah.
cologne.
I'll pay the 20-cent upgrade for the cheese.
Will you give it to me afterwards, Ripper?
Yeah, of course. This would be for you.
Thank you.
So tickets are $8.50 online at Eventbrite. Just type in my name into Eventbrite. It's my only tickets currently for sale. $10 at the door. And of course, Goodnight and I will be at the Yukon Comedy Festival in Whitehorse.
Hopefully smelling like Tim McGraw.
Roll up in the joint smelling like Tim McGraw.
Yeah, we'll be rolling a few joints, hopefully smelling like Tim McGraw.
It's Canada.
We'll be teaching Canada how we do it good style, you understand?
Yeah, that festival
I will
is
not be there, by the way.
March 22nd, 23rd, 24th. We'll be at the Fire Hall at 7:30, although I believe that show is actually already sold the fuck out.
If
So
everybody there holds hands, I think we can summon through seance the spirit of Pat Riley. So
Yeah.
then all of us will be
Or
there.
get Skype in.
yeah, we're gonna Skype him in at the live.
too.
We're doing a live Goods from the Woods at Winterlong Brewing Company in Whitehorse on the 24th. That'll be at 10:30 a.m. So that shit's gonna be a hell of a way to start the day. So
Hey,
Whatever.
I
It'll
go
probably still be
24
dark
hours.
out anyway, so
well, I looked at their menu. They do have a coffee stout up there. So
Sounds pretty good, but you know what they say, Rivers? We go hard day and night.
that's right. And then of course you can see me and Goodnight on.
That song is the balls, man. We listen to it on Christmas.
Be there on the 25th, the Yukon Comedy Festival, Dawson City show at the Klondike Institute of Arts and Culture, and that starts at 7 p.m. And tickets are $20 at
and
the
there's
door.
nothing that epitomizes arts and culture more than Rivers Langley, Mr. Goodnight, Kyle Clark, Kyle Kinane. too?
No, not the Klondike show. That one's just us. I'm headlining that shit, baby.
Oh.
I'm closing it out. Yeah. So
Take that, Kyle Clark.
no, yeah. Well, hey, Kyle Clark's headlining the one of the Fire Hall.
Oh, well,
so
fair
we're,
enough,
We're,
fair
swa-
enough.
we're you know we're,
Hey, if
whatever.
we're going to Canada, do I get to meet Caillou?
Hopefully somebody will bring some Caillou something for us. I don't know.
Yeah, bring me some Caillou records or something to listen to when I'm stoned.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so that's our stuff. And you can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/thegoods-pod. We're on Twitter @thegoods-pod. Big shout out to our webmaster and the grand poobah of the Yukon Comedy Festival up there at the North Pole, Richard Eden.
You know what they call it up there, Rivers? They call it the Garden of Eden into Yukon territory.
That's good. Oh, man. We're doing glass blowing. There's sled dogs.
I don't do them kind of hard drugs.
There's all kinds of crazy shit that's going to be happening up there. It's going to be wild. And yeah, Pat, what should the folks do when they get to iTunes?
Rate, review, subscribe, and buy Mr. Goodnight some Tim McGraw cologne. And if you give us 5 stars, give us a screen cap, and we'll give you stickers.
Yeah, tweet at us @thegoods-pod. And I just bought a big roll of stamps, so I'm happy to mail those out. So if you give us a 5-star review, you're getting a sticker in the mail from Disgraceland Studios.
Because Rivers likes going to the post office. He likes going.
He likes to look at his pictures on the wall.
Yeah. But yeah, do that. And listen to Exit Strategy.
And all that shows the attitude of gratitude.
And if you don't have the attitude of gratitude, then I am not going to let you smell my pits when I have Tim McGraw on there.
Bye, everybody.
And we'll see you next week. The Goods from the Woods was mixed, edited, and distributed by me, Rivers Langley. You can find the show on Twitter @thegoods-pod. Our theme song was composed by DJ Smiles. Check him out on Twitter @DJ Smiles.